As always, we got Gunny Matheson, Joe Schmidt, and our special guest today.
All right. Hey, maybe she's an heir to the Kroger store.
If I was, I wouldn't be so mad.
Okay. Episode 96, Shorty Koger. There we go. That was better.
All right. As always, we got Gunny Matheson, Joe Schmidt, and our special guest today,
The one and only Shorty.
the one and only Shorty Koger, Hall of Fame, National Cowgirl Hall of Fame member. That's pretty cool, huh?
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks
for coming.
Thanks for coming.
I thought it'd be a good idea whenever we went up to your birthday party, everybody that was telling all the stories and everything that you've been through, I thought it'd be awesome to be able to share some of that with some of our tens of viewers that we have. And you're such a big part of the Rein In business, so we thought we'd give, we thought some of those stories would be awesome to hear, so.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, my birthday party was out of the park. I've never experienced it. I mean, of course, Bobby and Cammy and some did all of it, but what a birthday party. She told me a year ago, I'm going to throw the biggest 80th birthday you've ever had. And I said, well, I'm only going to turn that way once, so it better be good. And it was outstanding. So, and I appreciate all y'all coming and sharing the time there with us. And, yeah, it was making memories and touched my heart very much.
Yeah, it was fun. You could tell how much, I mean, it had a different feel to it. Everybody was really excited to be there.
We felt honored just by being invited, to be honest with you. I mean, Joe, were you invited?
No, I wasn't there.
That's Bobby's fault, not mine.
Yeah, just an oversight, Joe.
Yeah.
But to make you feel better, I wouldn't be invited either if it wasn't for Mandy.
Yeah.
Anywhere, actually, anywhere. So that's tell us a little bit about how
did Shorty's Hattery come to be, huh?
Yeah, and the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's awesome. The Cowgirl Hall of Fame has got to be one of the greatest honors. Huh?
It was, but let me say this: it took me 23 years to get there. So they don't just you just don't nominate someone and you just get in because you nominate them. It takes, they have a lot of people that everybody nominates. So I was so honored to have that and so grateful. I got COVID right after I'd heard that I was going to be in the Cowgirl Hall of Fame, and I thought, okay, Lord, please don't let me die before I get in the Cowgirl Hall of Fame, because people were dying from COVID. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, especially because that was 21, right?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. And that was kind of right in the thick of it yet when it was still.
But it's really so hard to tell you that my life has been. I've had wonderful family. My mom and dad raised me, and everything that. Of course, I do give God all the glory, but I'm telling you, I've been so honored and grateful for all that's taken place, even after being in the Cowgirl Hall of Fame. It's been amazing. I've had interviews, and they're writing books and doing documentaries, and so, it just blows me away because I'm really not a person to interview because I don't really like it.
Good to know.
I really don't. I'm just not very good at it. So.
Well, we're amazing at it. So yeah,
I know. Right?
We'll make you look good.
Yeah, we have 95 episodes of practice.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And
Actually, I was looking forward to this because I knew y'all would be fun and easy. You could get people to interview you, and it's not so fun.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and clearly you get into a Cowgirl Hall of Fame by what you've given back to the cowboy community. And one of the things that I was most impressed with from your 80th birthday party was all the stories they told of all the stuff you've given away. Not what you've taken from the business, but what you've given back, including your Rein In Cancer stuff. I mean, I don't remember how many millions of dollars they said it's brought in, but I think it's incredible.
Yeah. Well, I started that in 2000, probably 2006, because I lost my sister to cancer and she didn't have insurance. And it was just, it was quite an event to go through all that. So I thought, okay. So coming to my mind, I said, okay, I want to help people that does not have insurance. Just give them the money and so they can help, either get there for treatment or whatever they would do to help them. So I started out, I made my sister a pink hat with the logo cut out about a year before she passed away. And then after she died, I thought, man, I could just make those hats, sell them, and put the money into savings and figure out what I can do. So that's how I started that. I had $13,000 in savings when this lady, a friend of mine, ended up being a friend and a customer. She came in my shop, and I had a little memory thing of my sister and the hat and all that stuff. And she says, well, tell me about this deal. And I said, well, I lost my sister a couple of weeks ago, and I just wanted to honor her somehow. And I said, I'm trying to figure out how I could help people that does not have insurance. And as the Lord would have it, she worked at a cancer center there in Oklahoma City, and she says, I think I can help you. So that's how Rein In Cancer began. Then we got with Cheryl Magnitude, where she had also lost her sister, and so that's how Rein In Cancer was formed. And thank you so much for all the horse people, because without them it would not be. And we've raised over, I think, $2 million.
$2 million.
Just from horse people that's been so generous and helped us so much. So, I have a lot to be grateful for and a lot to thank people for all they've done.
Yeah.
It's crazy how one person can come up with an idea, and a few years later, you guys come up with $2 million and growing and counting every day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. So,
And there's really nobody that cancer hasn't touched in some way.
I know.
mean, it's a horrible thing, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
and
you
to-
just look in the industry that we're in right now, and the people that we've had just in the last 2 years that have lost their, battle with cancer.
absolutely.
yeah,
absolutely.
we can name a lot of too many of them. Too many of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. No doubt. So just tell us a little bit about how it all started. So I mean, you grew up on a ranch, right?
No,
No? Okay.
I did not grow up on a ranch. My
We're
family.
we're very intense on our background here.
Yes.
We do a lot of background investigating.
Yeah. Some people
Well,
usually
my-
just act like I'm right, but no.
Right.
I lived out in the Osage in Oklahoma City. Hell. Fairfax, Oklahoma. And I was raised there and back then in the, the 40s, late 40s, early 50s, where we lived, there was no fences or anything. The cattle just roamed. And, we lived way out because I went to my grade school, and it was only the first to the 8th grade, and that you had to go into Fairfax to continue your school. But I'm telling you, the Osage has, I don't know what it is about it, but it's something. When I go there, I feel so spiritual, and I'm so connected with, and I love Indians. I mean, I really do. And that Killers of the Flowering Moon it had a hard time watching it because I think they did too much abuse to that. But anyway, so my daddy got transferred. He worked for the Continental Oil Company, and he got transferred to Moore, Oklahoma. Now, where I went to school, we probably had 8 kids in my class, maybe 10 at the most.
Shorty, you need to back up and tell them like your whole childhood area when you were there in Gray Horse. Like when y'all lived out at Naval Reserve. Because nobody
That's
knows
what I'm
Naval
trying to
Reserve
do.
was. Yeah, but you're way ahead of that already.
You need help in the car? we can help you in the car when we leave.
I'm telling
So you need to tell them about your marble playing when you went to grade school there in Gray Horse. And who you saw in Fairfax that made you want to become a cowgirl.
Okay.
Yeah, about the actors. I've read about that part.
Yeah.
About Ben Johnson.
Okay, so back to the beginning. On the weekends, not every weekend, but at least once a month, my mom and dad and I would go into Fairfax to buy groceries. Mother would rather go to Pawhuska, but we went to Fairfax to buy groceries, And I'd always look down. I'd be standing on the street, and I'd look down there and see these cowboys. And I tell you what, I thought, oh man, they are so awesome. And they had a wild rag on and fancy hat and nice shirt, and their breeches was tucked in their boots. And I said, well, I want to grow up and look like that someday. Of course, I wanted to be a cowboy, and my mother says, you can't be a cowboy, you got to be a cowgirl. So anyway, that's how my desire to do what I do began. I didn't know that at the time, and not at 5 or 6 years old, you don't know that. But anyway, that always stuck in my mind. So when my daddy passed away, my brother sent 2 hats off to have them renovated. And when they came back, they'd run them with all the stiffener and everything they put in them. And my brother said, as much as you love cowboy hats, you should get in the hat cleaning business. So that's actually how everything started, was back then. But I've done many things between all that at my age. But, I had Little Britches rodeo. I had a little rodeo string that I did with another man, and him and I put on little rodeos. I've been a janitor, scrubbed floors and toilets and everything else. I've been a Subway sandwich maker.
I think I read that.
Anyway, but all this was a good experience for me because I could never find my niche, what I really wanted to do. And honestly, I really didn't want to work for anybody because I was just too headstrong to want to. I mean, it wasn't that I didn't want to take orders, but I tried the corporate world where you wore a dress and heels, and I was a secretary and I was a bookkeeper, and I thought, man, this is just not my cup of tea. So anyway, when my brother said that, I thought, wow, that's a great idea. So I spent about a year and a half finding somebody that would help me. Well, none of the men, there was only like 11 or 12 hat makers at the time, and none of them wanted to help me. They said, well, if you got $1,500, you can come down for 2 days and I'll help you. And I'm thinking, I don't even have 15 cents. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I kept on looking and watching, and I had a friend that come by my house and said, I'm going over, I have had something done to my hat. I'm going over to this guy that makes hats or renovates hats. And I said, really? Here in Oklahoma City? Because I'd been everywhere trying to, calling people. And so I went with her over there, and it was in a little barn, and he renovated hats there. And it wasn't, it was very small, less than, probably 300 or 400 square feet. So I went with her, and I kept looking at everything while she was talking, and I thought, I may have to come back here by myself. So I went back the next week and visited with him, and I said, how could I get in the hat cleaning business? And he said, well, I'm selling my business. I've got it up for sale. And I said, really? But he said, I have a buyer already. And I said, okay, when are they coming? He said, next Monday at 10 o'clock. I said, okay, I'll be here at 9:30. Because if they don't show up, maybe I'll be the lucky one. And I went home and talked to my sisters, my brother, and they helped me gather the money. We each put in a certain amount, and which is a very small amount.
Well, you put your 15 cents in.
Yeah, I put my 15 cents in. And I went over there at 9:30, and I walked and paced and looked at everything and talked and talked and talked. And I'd keep looking down the road to see if I could, them driving up the driveway, because it was a dirt driveway. So about 10 o'clock, I kept looking, and about 10:01, I said, okay, I don't think anybody's coming to buy your business. I said, will you let me buy it? And he said, well, yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to show up. So I handed him the check, because he wanted to get into politics. Hello. Yeah.
Cool.
He wanted to so bad be a governor, but bless his heart, he was a very nice guy. But so that's when I bought the business, and then I moved it. When I went, I finally built me a little bitty building not too far from him because he, I had to get the people that he renovated hats for, and learn how to do all this before I went to the Stockyards, because that was my goal, to go to Stockyards.
So did you work for him did he
No.
help you for a while, or the check was cashed and you were on your
Well, I
own?
tell you what, his mama helped me because she was left-handed. When you're left-handed, you're pretty almost handicapped because there's so many things that you can't do that everybody else right-handed. I mean, I can't even cut with a pair of scissors unless it's left-handed. So, but his mother taught me how to do a lot of that, and he was busy out campaigning. He didn't help me hardly much at all. And his daddy helped me learn how to start the beginning of a hat in the blocking machine over the phone. So, I renovate hats. I thought surely I could make a hat if I can renovate a lot of the same steps. So that's how I started teaching myself how to do that, and trial and error and perseverance, and
Like
There's
anything,
no,
right?
there was no
That's cool.
YouTube videos how to do
Yeah,
it.
no.
Now you can watch
No.
YouTube and learn anything.
And not very many people. I mean, there wasn't a huge amount of people making hats that you could go.
I was
hang
the
out
only
with,
woman
right?
at the time. Yeah, there was. I think at the time when I got it, there was 13 of us. But I mean, I was the only female that went into it, started all by myself, and I had no help from a man or a husband, or anybody else really. So I just started and decided I was going to make it work, and I got a lot of nasty comments, and the people from Texas didn't think I knew how to spell cowboy because I said mine spelled Caboy. And they said, this girl don't even know how to spell cowboy. And I thought, oh, you better look out. That name's going to help me because you won't forget it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
for sure.
And when was that? What year was that?
90. When I was over there on Britain Road.
Yeah.
But
What
when I
what
moved-
equipment was it that you bought from that guy? Was it the equipment that you bought or just the connections?
Well, I bought a blocking machine, which is where you start with the beginning of making a hat, and a sweatband machine, which sews the sweatband in, and a crown iron machine, which you need to make the crown stiffer and everything. That's
Gotcha.
the only thing I had.
Okay.
And they were like built in 1920, 1930.
That's all.
They're very old. You can't buy this equipment anymore.
When we toured your shop a few years ago, we came up, there was a party there, and you guys showed us the machines that were over 100 years old. They're
Yeah.
amazing.
That's cool.
They're amazing.
Made out of real metal.
Yeah, how to get
yeah.
somebody to repair them if they ever need repaired, I wouldn't even
Well,
know.
I find a machinist, and
They'll handle it.
yep, I've got it all. Yeah, I've got many connections to help me with all that.
That's cool.
Has the equipment changed much, or is it all?
I don't know. I still use
Just all the
back
old
in
stuff?
the ages, but I don't. They've got other equipment, but they want anywhere from 20 to 50,000
Yeah.
a piece of equipment.
Wow.
And I did buy a new blocking machine, which has helped a lot. But and then you got to figure out how you're going to get hat bodies in, and there's a lot of things that go along with all that, So
When did you move your business to the Stockyards?
I think the end of 92 or 93.
Cool. So a couple years took
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to come to the Stockyards
Couple years
and
of-
Cowboys and
getting ready.
had to know what I was doing, or act like I did
Yeah.
anyway.
Tell them about when you first moved to the Stockyards, what happened to you. About your steamer.
Yeah, didn't you almost blow the place up?
Oh my gosh!
I want
Yes.
to hear about that one.
Okay, so when I bought this equipment from from Shorty, he had a beer keg, and it was on he had welded something, and that's what it said on this metal stand, and he had a golf ball as the pop-off valve anchored down there with the not baling wire, but wire. That's how he had it on there in case, if it needed to pop off.
Yeah, of course. That's what you do.
Okay, so when I moved to the Stockyards, after I've been there maybe a month or two, and the fire department has to come in, the new business, make sure that everything's legal. And he come in there and he walked off through the shop and he said, "Well, what's this?" I said, "Well, that's my boiler." He said, "Boiler?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, what does it do?" And I said, "It puts steam to my hat so I can pull my hats and start with the custom making of it." And he said, "I'll be right back." He went outside and come back, and I thought everything was cool. Well, he put this big old red flag on my boiler, and he said, "You know that you've got a gas leak, and plus I smoked at the time." And he said, "You could have blowed this whole city block up. So you're not going to get to use that anymore. You better figure out something else." I couldn't even believe it. I had to laugh about it because
you didn't blow it up.
well, I didn't blow it up, and I thought it was pretty cool that he thought of this.
Yeah.
Man.
Because when you don't have money, you think of things you have to do to improvise.
For sure.
Well, go back now. You talk about meeting the actors and looking up to them. You know that was a big influence on your childhood. But I think of all the people you've met currently that are famous people that the Western industry has brought, to your doorstep and your hats and the whole thing. I mean, that's the coolest part about, to me. Every time I walk by your booth, it's full of people just laughing and having a good time, and the top guys in the industry and the celebrities and everybody's it's just like it's home.
Well, I know. You know something? Anybody that wears my hat, in my opinion, is a star. They always ask me.
Yeah, and you're not wearing one.
I wear one all the every horse show.
Not right now.
Well, you're not a star. It doesn't. I mean, in
Book-
her eyes, you
everybody-
are.
Okay, and I'm pretty stuck.
But I don't know. That's how I feel. That's the interviews. Everybody says, "Well, who did you build hats for that was a movie star?" And I said, "Everyone that wears my hat's a movie star. They're all stars. I don't." Actually, the ones that that are movie star people, they want it for free.
Yeah, that's the worst kind,
Yeah,
right?
hello. So that's.
Yeah. No, that to me that's because
And you know what? I had a Western store in 1968, and in Moore, Oklahoma, and I put a little sitting space in my store, like a couple of rocking chairs and coffee. You could come in and make coffee and everything, and that's how I met customers. They'd come in, and I'd invite them over to have a cup of coffee or whatever, and I've done that all these years. And so when I got my business, I did the same thing. I know people say, "Man, everybody's gathered at Shorty's booth." Well, that's my conversation area, and that's how I build friendships and business. And
you guys go
everything
through a lot
else.
of coffee at the booth, don't you?
Well, it's kind. We've graduated to something else.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Coffee.
Yeah, I walk by there and
Coffee.
yeah, everybody's drinking coffee every time I walk by that booth.
I gotta run up to Shorty for coffee.
Yeah,
Coffee.
that's
One
gonna
in the derby.
be
That was
Mandy's
back
new
in the
thing.
day.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, what have you seen a big change like since Yellowstone? Is there you feel like there's more Western wear, hats, all of that stuff being bought?
Oh yeah, most definitely there is. I know he's helped the industry a lot, but there's also everybody wants to get in the hat business now. I mean, they decorate them and put all that stuff on there. Now I don't decorate my hats, I just want them to look classy and stuff. And yeah, there's a whole lot of people in the hat business, and it's not necessarily Western, But yeah, they've done an amazing job helping with the industry and everything. Yeah.
Well, I think probably what happens is some of the new guys get people in, and then they have a hat that's not as good as your hats, and then they end up at
Yeah.
you guys are icons. I mean, it's in the horse business and the hat business. You guys are icons.
Well, and it's the worst when you see a celebrity or someone in a movie with a bad hat.
I know.
You can't stand it. Like, why isn't there someone just for that job?
Okay, let's talk about Beyonce's hat. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What about,
That's
do you
the
have
worst.
any people that walk into your booth with
Yeah.
their hat
Yeah.
on like this?
No.
Houston is the worst place. Right?
Oh, I could imagine. I could imagine all the cowboys in Houston because they got the livestock show on rodeo, right? Goes on for a month. You guys do a booth down there?
Oh, yeah.
And your logo kind of looks like the Houston livestock rodeo logo, huh? Kind of similar,
Well,
yeah.
that's funny because they called me up to the office on that.
Really?
Yeah, and I said, well, I've had this logo was even before I bought the business, and it's not anything like your logo, not really.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
They had a,
Legs, but there's not a bar between the leg.
yeah.
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 But
Yeah.
if you glance at it like, oh, and then you're like, no, it's not.
it's not really anything like mine. But
Yeah, it's
anyway.
funny. Mandy and I were flying, I think, down to Florida, and we're in the airport getting ready to get on the plane, and there's a guy he's dressed
That's
all
right.
real nice, and he's got his hat. He's fidgeting with his hat, and I can tell he just can't get it comfortable. And I walk up to him and I tap him on the shoulder. I'm like, hey, and he turns around and looks at me like, what? You know, he's just irritated with me. And I said, you having problems with your hat? And he says, yeah, I was in town on business, and these guys got me a hat because I'm in Texas, so they got me a hat, and it just doesn't fit right. I said, well, you should turn it around because you got it on backwards.
Oh, my
And he
gosh.
gets kind of, I said, and it doesn't make any difference to me how foolish you want to look, but at least you'll look like you know what you're doing.
Well, no
Yeah.
kidding. Oh, yeah.
If you have a hat made for you, it's hard to put it on backwards. Like, it won't go on your head very good.
Yeah, that's
Well,
true.
I have a few hats for judging that are made just a little bit bigger. So whenever Drake made this one for me, I ordered it with him. I said, hey, if it's too big, it's not a problem because I'm just going to judge it. I want to keep it clean and judging it. But the last time I judged in it, we always wear them on the plane. You don't check it. You don't.
No, don't check it.
And you need to have a hat there in case they lose your luggage. So I'm not checking it. But I always get compliments on the plane about my hat, whether it's this one or my other brown one or my other brown one or my gray one or my tan one.
I think I have 15 Shorty's hats.
You got
Holy
15.
cow,
I have
really?
7.
I got
You need to
three.
quit winning them.
I have 7. I've paid for most of mine.
I need to thank all the Rainers for all they've done for Shorty's Hattery. Because, yeah,
I think we probably need to thank you girls because
Yeah.
how much do you donate every year to every horse show? You guys give a lot of stuff away to contribute
okay,
to
that's,
NRHA.
that's what I'm about.
Yeah.
I like to give.
Yeah. I think it's incredible. I think it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Well,
They always say it's better to give than to receive. And
Yeah, for sure.
that's kind of been her motto all her life. Is she's just kind of giving things away, and it's come back tenfold.
For sure. Makes people want to do business with you.
yeah.
It's all about the customer service too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that's the thing that I've found. Like, they're just good fitting hats, and like I think it was this hat I did one in the crazy hat contest in Southwest or something, and it wasn't right at first. Like, we kept trying, and I mean it drove her crazy, But then
Oh, it drives us all
finally got
crazy.
it, and I mean it's perfect. I don't have to hairspray it on. I can wear it all the time. I mean it's such a different quality hat.
I paid for this one. You guys paid retail. Happy to do it. Paid for the other ones at home too.
Yeah.
Happy to do it.
But
Love
if you
it.
know
Probably
Joe-
going to go to Oklahoma City, buy another one. For no reason at all other than I won't have that color. I don't have a black one. I have a steel gray one.
So I got a steel gray that I won, but I haven't worn yet.
Yeah, but that's why we call him Free Roll Joe.
Hey, that's a good one. Free roll.
Have you tried the hat on? Make sure it fits.
Yeah, I actually did today. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I got it right here. Yeah. See, now this one, that was my first one and wore it out, and then we redid it, but it was just still too, I couldn't show in it. But yeah, I won a lot of money in this one. This is my original
get rid
hat.
of it.
Must be a great hat right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the Raining people's been phenomenal for me. I really appreciate it.
But you go to you do a lot of the AQHA stuff too, though, right?
Yes,
You do
I
the
do.
World Show and the Congress and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the cow horse stuff,
And the cow horse stuff. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the cuttings.
How many days a year are you guys on the road?
Probably over 200.
I think our boys last year were like 258. Kyle and Drake and Tyler, and we probably are there probably maybe like 250 or something, or we're there together with them. But
NFR.
last year the NFR, we've been in the NFR 2 years in a row, and next year we're there because of where our booth location was. They're going to move us because we stopped up the hallway.
Wow,
So they said you can't be in this hallway. You got to put you in a bigger booth.
that's awesome.
So we're going to go.
That's
in the front
incredible.
row,
I know.
upstairs. We're right across from the Rocky Mountain Elk Society thing. We'll have a 20 by 30 booth there.
That's incredible.
So, has it changed at all over the years? Like, do you used to be like, okay, let's go on the road. Can't wait. We're gonna go to the Rein In fraternity. We're gonna go here. We're gonna go there. Has it changed to where you're like, yeah, man.
Yeah, because it used to just be Shorty and I, and we did all of that by ourselves. And now we're branched out. We have 4 trucks and 4 trailers. At some point in time, could be on the road at the same time. It's crazy.
Well, going back to the NFR, Drake said, Shorty, I have this idea. I think we could do good at the NFR. And I said, okay, well, I can promise you I'm not going. Because I'm doing the Raining fraternity. So he said, well, how about you just let me go out there and just try it one time? I said, okay, I don't have a problem with it. You just have to handle everything. Well, it was a pretty good show. And then last year, no, we were real low on inventory. Anyway, so this year, yeah, 24. The business was even bigger.
Wow.
So
Like we tripled from we did the in 22.
Wow.
I mean 23. From 23 to 24, we tripled.
Wow.
But we had inventory to sell, so when you have the inventory to sell, you tend to can sell some things. Just like going into the Run for the Million, when you don't have the inventory there and they have to buy it and order it, and it takes now anywhere from 8 months to a year or longer, depending on what you're getting. Thank God it's getting a little bit better, but at one time we were a year and a half out on getting hats ready. Yeah. And people don't want to wait that long. They want to, and when you go to the NFR or go to the Run for the Million,
They want to put their hat on. Yeah.
they want to go out and be seen and be seen in it.
Yeah.
How much did a hat cost when you started?
Top of the line hat. Yeah.
probably about $475, $500.
Same hat today?
Well, I'm way better now than I was back then. So my quality and my look and everything is so much better. So as we've gone along and I've improved, and I've had to raise my prices, plus prices are raised in the hat bodies and the boxes you make and everything else.
The whole world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Everything.
yeah, but I tried to keep it affordable for cowboys because, I used to be a cowgirl and done rodeos and stuff. So I know it takes a lot of money to get out on the road and do that. So I wanted to make my hats good and special and not charge an arm and a leg for them so the cowboys could be able to afford them.
I
Cowboys,
want to say
cowgirls.
this hat was 11 or 1200.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, when
Duke
we started horse
And
If
we're
you-
still way more than our competitors out there.
If
Or
you're-
what we call a box store.
If you're thinking about inflation it really hasn't
go much-
it hasn't
much.
gone up as much because you used to be able to buy a Coke in a can for $0.25 then, and it's probably $2 now. So
Or 4.
yeah,
Yeah.
Water costs more than diesel.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you what, I had past tense one hat that wasn't a Shorty's. I walked past the booth in it one day, and I just hear this voice from the booth. That ain't my hat. I was like, what? You're not getting away with nothing.
No.
Can you see your hats? Like somebody walks by, you know for sure if it's your
Yeah.
hat. Or,
Yeah.
Even in a crowd, or in the stands or something, I can tell. Well, 35 years, I better be able to tell
yeah.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it's one of mine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But when you think about what your hats have done, I mean, we used to charge $600 for a month for training, and now it's 2,000. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. Everything costs more money. I'm sure all your materials cost more. Your help costs more. Everything costs more. It costs more to go down the road, set up hotels, the whole.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds to me like 11 or 1,200 is not enough.
Kind of cheap.
Yeah.
I know it isn't, but I can't. I just want to be.
Time going up on the price.
I just can't make myself do
If she
it.
put a pencil to it, she'd probably go, "Oh man, I'm way undercutting everybody."
Remember that next week when I'm picking up my hat, okay?
Yeah.
Not enough.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking.
14th hat.
I'm thinking maybe
Jesus.
Joe should pay cash for a hat.
Well, I did. I bought that one.
Oh, okay.
I won the other two.
It's time.
so-
It's
Yeah.
time to buy another
But
one.
I
Joe.
like your idea of getting bigger hats for judges. I like that. That's all right. But yeah, gotta get a new one. No, but I love mine. I wear your one guy at NRBC. He was cleaning mine, and he goes, "Oh man, you wear yours a lot. That's good." But I burn them, get the sweat stain in there,
Well, that's why we make them for you to use.
Yeah, I love it. Because I really like wearing my hat the whole horse show. I don't put it on right before I show. I mean, I really like wearing it.
Yeah.
Cowboy.
Yeah, I'm a cowboy.
So what's the progression of the business as far as disciplines? Were you was it more pleasure horses, cow horses?
When I started out, when I started out, I was mainly like I would shape buckaroo shapes.
For cowboys and cowgirls.
Yeah, but then as I got out,
But
and
real cowboys.
but then as I got out and started doing shows and stuff, then I realized I got to do something. This is not going to work. So, you just got to pay attention when you're out there and be aware of your surroundings and what they're wearing and what they want. And so I changed my style to cattleman's creases and that type of thing. But in the beginning, I did do buckaroo hats, and I loved it because the guys that I saw when I was 6 years old, they were what you would call buckaroo hats because they were, at the time I didn't know, but they were movie stars. And but they, back in the day, that's all they wore was those kind of hats.
Yeah, and I just was curious if you started like what discipline you started in because like for me, I'm oblivious to everything. Mandy dresses me. Like as soon as we get together, my old hat's gone, and then I got a Shorty's. She
Like
All
tell them like when you first started getting in the business and you started going to the shows. Like your first show you ever went to was the World Show, right? Or did you do some team pinning stuff?
Actually, I did an FFA at the fairgrounds. They were having some kind of ordeal there, and I didn't have a clue what I was doing. So, you got to start back. I had to start where I knew that I would not embarrass myself nor do something bad for my business. So, and then I went from that to a cattle show, and finally, eventually, I ventured out into the World Show. I was doing that in '95, I think.
And tell them what you did at the World Show. What did you do there? Like you work the day and be there early in the morning?
Yeah, well, I was the only one, I was the only one. I didn't have any help at the time because I couldn't afford help. So I would, if I was to sell a hat or do anything with a hat, I'd go back after the show was done, and I might be in there at midnight trying to figure out how I was going to do what I needed to do for this hat because, you you don't. No one will tell you anything what to do. You got to figure it out for yourself. Mm-hmm. And I'm just stubborn enough to do that. So, yeah. And if I sold a hat, then I was there trying to make the hat, you know. And, you know, in the stockyards back then, it wasn't exactly the safest place to be, but, and, you know, I did fine. It worked out, and I spent a lot of hours there in the middle of the night.
How long does it take to make a hat?
Well, about a week. When you got to go through all these steps, and during those steps, you got to let the hat dry so you can do the next step. You can't just, you know, you can't take one hat and run it all the way through because there's too many things you've got to do to it to let it dry and, you know, because there's, you got to crown iron it, you got to let that dry, and then you've got to crimp it, and you got to let that dry before you can do anything, sand it or anything. So, but the one thing about us is we do most everything by hand, except the blocking, and so you get a better finish and a better look, and it's just better all the way around.
Yeah. And did I read online that the furs are from like Ukraine or something?
Yes. Mm-hmm. See, they used to process beavers in Canada, but that was back in the day. Now it's got to go to Ukraine and over there because, well, first of all, the fur's better because it's colder over there, and they get a better quality of fur. But they still trap beavers, and that's how they do it. But there's still beaver trappers out there.
Huh.
And here's the other thing too. From back when I first went to work for Shorty, fur used to be like $4 a pound before 2020, and now it's gone to $28 a pound. Oh, wow. And they buy in commodities. So during COVID, there was less fur available. So it's kind of turned the hat industry upside down. And since like all the Western stuff that's come abroad now, it seems like everybody wants to be in the hat business, and now they're trying to figure out how they're going to make the hats. You know, so it was kind of hard for us to get hat bodies, and still is depending on the colors and the quality of fur is not near what it used to be back in the 80s and 90s and all that, early 2000s.
It'd be interesting to see a timeline of the evolution of the hat, of the shape of the hats, because I can remember back in the AQHA days, the taco.
Yeah.
Did you ever shape any of those?
Yeah.
So you've been
And
there for the whole.
the real tall crown.
Yeah.
Crown, short brim.
Yeah.
And now we're short crown, big
brim.
Yeah.
Or shorter crowns, big brim.
I don't know. CJ tells me, so CJ Murphy will tell me, little taco, Gunny, and flatten it out a little. He's still.
And you know, we think they look perfect now, but probably
30 years from
20
now.
years from
Look
now,
at
they're
those
gonna be
hats we
different.
used to wear.
Yeah.
And you know, even today, if you look at the rodeo cowboys, they've even changed their whole look. Yeah. So like in the 60s, they wore them real tall, narrow crown and just real short little, like what I call like a really tight smiley face. Like more like a taco.
Or a V right here.
Like a roll it, like a, you know.
Yep.
And then now the cowboys are wearing them real flat and just like broke over the whole front is broke over. And real soft rounded corners. So, and the cow horse guys are a little bit to that. They're not quite that extreme to broken down. Well, I guess some of them could be. But like the reiners are pretty much in the middle of all of that. And even the show horse people, I think, have brought their brims down a little bit. For say they're not so much taco like they used to be when you know if you're coming or going.
So today, you guys even today, you shape them different per discipline a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you have to. Yeah, that's the deal. I mean, if you're not a good hat shaper, you don't. I mean, you cannot accomplish what you're after if you're not a good hat shaper. Because barrel racers wear theirs different. Cutting horse people wear theirs different. Y'all wear yours different. Western Pleasure's different, and so you just have to be.
I did a slide contest last year in a sombrero bought from a party store. Could you make me a sombrero? Like a serious, good fitting sombrero to do the slide contest in.
Yeah. Have you ever made something like that?
People that know people.
Yeah.
She's like, nice.
Yeah, make a
Don't
sombrero.
get going on that deal. No.
Burrow pants going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Their
So-
rims are about 10 or 12, 14 inches wide.
Yeah.
Have you ever made some big goofy hat like that? Like something real
I'll tell you
different?
what I did do. I made this little man was so cute. He come to my booth and he said, "I've been watching you. I've been coming out here and watching you." And he said, "You look like a girl that could make what I'm after." I said, "Well, that's great. Thank you for the compliment." I said, "What are you after?" He said, "I want a 9-inch brim or crown, and I want my brim to be about that wide." I said, because he had a straw hat on. I said,
He wanted him a little Abraham Lincoln hat.
"Yeah."
Yeah,
Top
David,
hat.
I said-
top hat.
It was like a cone.
Oh my gosh. I said, I promise you I can make that. And he said, "Well, what's it going to cost me?" I said, $800. He said, and he was an older gentleman, and he had lost his home in the hurricane.
Oh, man.
And I didn't charge him that much because I just didn't have the heart. But anyway, I went to the shop and everybody's saying, "How in the crap are you going to do this?" I said, "I got it all figured out." So I went to a phone place down there where I had some things done for me. And I said, "This is what I need. I need a 9-inch crown, and I need you to make it because we're going to," he didn't want much shape in it. So I said, "I want it 9 inches and real domed and everything." And they said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." I said, I think you can do it, and I can do it if you do that." They said, "Okay." So I made him that hat. I have to show you a picture of it.
Yes.
And he was so excited that you can't even believe. And I haven't seen him since because I'm afraid he's passed away or something. But he was such a cutest little man. And he said, "I've been to all these hat shops right here, and I keep sitting back looking at you, and I think you can do what I need." And I said, "Absolutely, I can."
Where did you get the idea for a shape
He had
of
a
hat?
straw hat like that from somebody.
No kidding.
You can send it to us.
Yeah.
He's
We'll
cute.
put it
I
up
mean,
here.
I just loved him, and he always came on Wednesday because that was bargain day. You didn't have to pay that much to get in.
Trying to picture that hat. That 9 inches, about like that, right?
No, hello. You all wouldn't know. Y'all don't even know what that is.
That's the line of the show, baby. Y'all wouldn't even know. That's great. I love it. I love it.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Have you ever just said nope, not making that hat?
No, I'm not saying. No, it's not in my vocabulary.
I'll tell you another one we did. Do you remember the movie the Great Hateful Eight?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So remember the wagon driver that drove the wagon. Anyway, we did a hat it was like a top and it had these little deals that hang off of it. I call them dingle balls. They hang down and they move like this. So the stagecoach drivers used to use those to keep the flies off of them. And a guy came to the shop one day from Colorado and he goes, "I want this hat to look exactly like this." And we're like, "Okay, we can do that." And we actually did it.
Yeah.
The hat band and the little dingle balls that hung off that moved, everything. I got that picture too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, it's not. I mean, that's how you get where you are, right? I mean,
Well,
you
yeah,
never say
you can't
no.
say, "Well, I can't do this."
Yeah.
I hate that word "can't."
Yeah.
I said, "Don't even say that in my shop," because that's not what this shop's about. We can do anything we put our mind to. So,
Yeah.
but my daddy raised me that way. So you don't give up. Just keep on going.
When did you start lasering and embellishing all the hats and all that?
15 years ago, probably.
About 20, well, your laser stuff, I think was like 2006 or 7. We started the laser stuff. And then we just started doing the buck stitching thing, and it's just kind of gone crazy.
Do you guys have the laser in house, or do you?
Oh no,
Yeah.
I send it off to my friend in Fort Worth.
Connie Jemison does all our laser and buck stitch stuff.
Yeah, she's very good. And Kay Cotton does a lot of my whip lace and other things on the hat. So,
I don't know. It's got to be a rewarding profession because you take a pile of nothings and you turn them into a hat. Like at the end of a day of work, you got to feel like you've accomplished something.
oh, absolutely.
Like it's a cool feeling, I'm sure, to have a piece of yourself into each hat you've made. You know, that's how I feel about making spurs and stuff and bits and stuff. You know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's been,
I tell you what's really cool, and you can probably relate to this if you're a craftsman. When you build something and you give it to somebody, and it just brings tears to their eyes because you make them go from this to this. You know, like they're a nobody to like a giant, and that's what's really cool about what we do. We got a letter. Was it like a couple weeks ago from a young girl that we?
Oh my gosh,
How did that?
yeah.
Tell them the story about that letter we got from the young girl. I don't remember where. I don't even remember. She came in the shop that day, didn't she, or somewhere? I'm not even sure where she came from, but we got this beautiful letter from her.
well, and she's really a high school girl. She's, it's on my website if anybody wants to read it, but it absolutely, the words she used and everything, that little girl has got, well, she's just amazing. And I couldn't repeat it, nor could I ever even think of the words that she used. But it is posted on my website. I sent it to Vicki to have it posted there.
About how she went to a show and she really didn't know, you know, just a new kid starting out to show, and she's like, my hat was bad and ugly, and I walked in that pen with my Shorty's hat on, and I stood tall in the saddle, and you know.
Yeah,
What's the website?
shortyshattery.com.
ShortyHattery.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. How far? So we went to your birthday party. How far do you live from the shop?
About 20 miles.
About 20 miles. You go every day?
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah.
Hardly, I mean, if I go away from my shop and spend some time relaxing, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 days, and I can't handle it anymore, I got to get back.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I just love my business so much, and all the people it's brought into my life. It's just been amazing.
Well, I would say that's the thing that you have that almost nobody else in the retail business has. When you go to the horse show, that's the spot. I mean, you've got friends. You can tell that the people that are there are not just there because they're clients.
No.
They're there because they're friends and they're having a coffee.
Yeah.
Call it a coffee,
So to speak, yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a great atmosphere, and I think it breeds loyalty. You know, everybody is. I think you have probably clients that you've had for 30 years.
Yeah, I really have.
There was people at the party that I don't remember who they were sitting with, and Kimmy, your friend Kimmy, the people that you used to rodeo with in Hall and rodeo, you rodeo with her mom and dad.
Oh yeah, yeah, Kim, yeah, yeah. She was just, I mean, she was still in the womb when I used to go out to her mom and dad's and have little cerveza with them. And now she's grown up and married and everything. But her birthday is 2 days before mine. So I invite her to party because I went to both her mom and dad's funeral. And they've been my friends for, I don't know, 30, 40 years. You know, I just...
60s.
Yeah. Well, that's longer than that, isn't it?
A little bit.
No, no.
But who's
We'll leave it
counting?
at 30 or 40. We don't want to do the math. We're not going to do the math and say it out loud.
No, please don't.
Yeah. Did I read somewhere that as a younger person you rode bulls or
Yeah, I read
did
that.
some of that?
Yeah.
You had to bring it up. You had to bring it up.
That's when I was...
Now
young.
he's questioning your intelligence.
Well, I would too, because I was a little worried myself. Yeah, well, this is so funny. So we're at this rodeo, and I had a group of friends with me. We all met there to watch the rodeo and drink beer and whatever. So I don't know, they must have done this on the side, had this idea where they was going to put me on the bull, and they said, hey, we got an idea. And I said, what is it? I think you should exhibition a bull. I said, exhibition a bull? Are you kidding me? I said, no, I don't really, I can't exhibition a bull. And they said, oh, yes, you can. You're tougher than nails. Let's see if the rodeo contractor will let you ride one. And they went up there and set it all up. Next thing I know, they're calling me to the shoots. I was nervous. I thought, what is wrong with them? I'm not going to do this. Well, I got up there and they set me down on this bull. And I'll tell you what, oh my gosh. I don't think, I had to ride. We rode with two hands back then. That's pretty hard.
Yeah.
And so the guy the contractor says, now he really doesn't buck that much. He'll just go out there and lope a little. I said, okay, yeah, I'll lope a little. Huh?
Talk about how the skin moved on the steers y'all rode.
Well, this wasn't a steer. This was a bull. Yeah. And so I got on it. I came out, and I can't remember a thing about it because I was so scared. And I know I didn't make it to 7, 8 or 6. Women used to have to ride 7 seconds. Men rode 8. I don't think I probably made 3 or 4. And I went off, and all the girls that was with me said, "Oh, they was just hooping and hollering, having the biggest time." I said, you girls have put me on this bull just to watch me get left off, didn't you? I mean, this is how much fun y'all have watching this. Yeah. And they said, oh, well, yeah, probably so. So, but I kind of got to thinking I might like to ride bulls in an all-girl rodeo. So, but I only rode a few. I didn't ride very many. No.
Yeah, that sounds like my bull riding career.
Yeah, Tom was a bull rider too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ride with both hands for 7 seconds?
One hand, and I ride them pretty good unless they loped out there and changed leads or something and I fall off.
How many bulls did you ride for 8 seconds, Tom?
I don't remember. I really don't remember. It wasn't about the riding the bulls. It was about the dance afterwards, and you were a bull rider. You had a little cow shit on your pants, and you were at the dance. You were the,
Yeah, that's it.
that was the thing.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well,
I went to, y'all are not familiar with this, but Ken Lance was a big cowboy here in Oklahoma, and he had a real nice arena and everything out outside of Ada. And now he dressed like all the old cowboys did with their, their wild rag and their boots and all that stuff. So I had my friend that I'd known for a long time. He said, "Okay, I've got a horse that you can go run barrels on. So let's take you to an all-girl rodeo." And I thought, really? I said, "Oh wow, that'd be cool." So we went there, and we unloaded my horse, and there was a little area right behind the roping chutes, a little place I could put him in there, and he'd have a little bit of grass and more space in the stall. And this girl walked up there, and she says, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm putting my horse in this pen." And she said, "Well, you can't do that." And I said, "Really? Why not?" She said, "That's my pen." And I said, "Well, I didn't see any name or anything on it. I didn't know." She said, "No, you get your horse out of here. That's my place." Well, I went back to the trailer, and I said, "Bruce, this woman's about to piss me off." And she said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "She wants me to move my horse because she says that's her spot." And there was no sign or anything saying that was her spot. And so he said, "Come on, let's go up there and see what's going on." So he said, "Put the halter on your horse and let's go." And I said, "Are you kidding me?" He said, "Shorty, just come." Or my name was different at the time. Well, I went back then I went by Koger because I rodeoed and stuff. And he said, "Let's go on back to the trailer and I'll explain to you." So we got back to the trailer, he said, "Shorty, that is the world champion bull rider. She's a world champion all around. She does all the events, and she's from, I thought he said at the time from Canada or somewhere. But he said, you can't be doing that with people that are established and has all these credentials. And I said, well, then they should have put a sign on the deal's what I say. I still was mad about it the whole weekend.
Sounds like you're still kind of mad. Well, you got
Poor
wrong.
little Martha Josie. She's such a nice lady, though. But yeah. But I mean, we're talking in the.
It'd be like a newbie, like a non-pro coming, like not even like a short stirrup or an amateur coming in and taking Mandy's place or something. You know, you can't take that spot. It's my spot.
That's funny.
Well, if she'd have been a little nicer about it, I would have been fine. But demanding me, and I'm so innocent, and that's the first time I've ever been to an all-girl rodeo. I didn't know. So you learn a lot in life.
Innocent. So things have changed a little.
Tell them about your friend Jan Urin.
Oh yeah, January. She's. We was at Paws Up Resort a few weeks ago, and we did a hat seminar there. But January was there, and she rode rough stock until she was 71 years old.
Wow. Holy cow.
She rode her last bucking horse at 71, and she says, when I turned 80, I told my kids I wanted to still ride one more time when I'm 80. And she said, you know what they did? And I said, no. She said, they took my bareback rigging and hid it from me. So
They believed her.
well,
They believed her, huh?
Now you talk about, and Shorty and her used to rodeo with each other.
Yeah.
And so they've got a lot of fun stories to talk about. We had a great time at Paws Up with Jan and the memories that they all had together.
Yeah, she was quite a lady. Yeah, I always admired her. She had more grandkids and kids than you can imagine, standing at the fence and stuff, rooting her on. It was unbelievable. But yeah, I've had lots of fun with all that.
I don't see the future changing much. It sounds like you love making hats. Like there's no need to retire when you love what you're doing, huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
We're just trying to get her to slow down and go fishing every once in a while.
Yeah.
She made the arrangements, otherwise I probably wouldn't have, but it's okay. I'll enjoy it when I get there, and then by Monday I'll be ready to come home. We leave on Wednesday.
Good. You'll be back for the Derby.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That I have time to come for coffee. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've always got plenty of coffee. in my
Morning coffee or afternoon coffee?
Afternoon coffee.
Well, thank you for being here, and thanks for all that you do for our business.
It's actually an honor to be here because, it's hard to come in somewhere and just talk about what you do and what we've done over the years. And I mean, I've been with Shorty since 2003, and it's been since I came on board, it's just been an uphill climb ever since. And it's still going uphill. And we've got a great road crew, the guys that work for us that go on the road. And I mean, it's hard to, and you guys know you're in the business. It's hard to find people that you can trust, that you can send out on the road that's not going to steal every dime they ever make, And that's, I think that's in every aspect of the industries. And but for us, we're grateful for the people that we've met over the years, and they're not just buy a hat and leave. They're just like you guys. It's like a camaraderie you've built over the years, and you hope that still continues on. And in our business, it's going to continue on because the boys that we have working for us and the people that work at our shop, we're just kind of the glue that keeps that back there going all the time. Because if it weren't for the crew that we have at our home, at the shop every day, we wouldn't be on the road every day.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Very grateful for the people that work for us at the shop and the things that they do for us too.
Well,
And thank you all so much for having us.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And
Yeah. Thanks for coming down. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I love all of you. I take your money, but honestly, there's more love that comes there the more money that you give me. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. So you love Joe the least.
I mean, of the three, they probably love me the most. 'Cause
That's right.
she's been winning all of her stuff. She hasn't paid for it.
That's right.
She
She
hasn't
wins
paid for
hers.
anything in years.
Friends to buy hats.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
You know, just like Troy and Andrew, you know, we've just built so many friendships around. I mean, around even the world, like, you know, South Africa and the people from Australia and or South America and Mexico and all over. I mean, it's just amazing the people that we've met that just like call us or text us and say, hey, what's going on? Are you coming this way? Stop by and see us. And, you know, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
Joe was just recently in China and Japan. Did you sell any Shorty's
No,
hats?
I told them about it because they like I said in China they want to be cowboys, and they had some of their hats are not the greatest, and they ask, you know, what does it need to look like? And I just say, just go to Shorty's. Just that's all you got to do.
We used to see a lot of Asians that come over here, and you talk about hard to fit now. Whew. It's a bad fit hat. They got bad heads over there.
Be careful what you say.
Cut.
I didn't notice that when I was there, but I wasn't looking that close.
You're good.
Turn it off. We're done.
We tell him about the guy that was from Asia, from Japan that came and saw you at he came at the booth at the Rein In fraternity, and then we go to the cutting and he shows up there and he goes, and his head's all like cracked like this, and the brim's all jacked up because his head's.
And he comes by my booth.
Yeah.
He goes,
Yeah.
I worked. I mean, during the whole raining show I worked on, every time they'd have a break, here he'd come. He couldn't talk. He couldn't speak to me. He'd just point.
Yeah.
I thought, well, so glad I got down to the cutting, and I looked up. Here he came. Here he came.
It's really cool like that. Like the American Performance Horse deal. All the guys and the Rainers, I think everybody but one is in our hats, which is usually like in the finals or at the fraternity or at the Run for the Million or even at the American Performance Horse. And we're not so much big in the cow horse and the cutters. We do have two cutters that are wearing our hats, and a lot of the Rainers are wearing them. But you know, it's exciting to see. We stopped to get our truck detailed today, or not detailed, but the oil change today, and the guy the store manager, the manager at Seth Waddle, he goes, man, you got a lot of guys that wear your hats that's going to the American Performance Horse. And it's like, yeah, we got one or two of them in there. It's pretty exciting for us to see you guys in our industry that are up on the big platforms that are in our hats, which makes it pretty exciting for us.
Well, you'll probably get some more guys from China now too, because old Joe, when he showed up in his hat, what did they say, Gunny?
Oh, Joe.
So nice.
You look
So nice.
Yeah, no, they did. They're like, oh, so handsome.
Oh,
Yeah.
you
So
have
professional.
Look out.
They did. They were like professional, so handsome. They were.
When they come here for the fraternity, man, they line up to get them. Oh man! And we send them straight to the shop because we're like, they got to help you over there. They have the equipment to fix their hats over there that fits their head.
Yeah, you have the store right there in Oklahoma City, so
Yeah.
it's an awesome store too. It's just a neat
Yeah,
scene, neat part of
Good
town.
place to go.
Yeah, anybody should go see it. That's at the fraternity or the Derby.
Yeah.
And you know, if we're
Yeah.
not real busy, we'll take you on a tour, show you how hats are made, and
Yeah.
explain a lot about where all that comes from and how good the hat is and the quality and everything. So,
Very good. Yeah.
Well,
cut.
Shorty, Bobby, thanks for coming.
Yeah. Thank
It's
you.
been our pleasure.
Yeah. Very
Really
fun.
has. So, grow the show.
Grow the show.